The case against P. Diddy, the baby oil billionaire, one of the most vile individuals in music industry history, has been getting more and more horrible things about it coming to light. It would take hours to go over every crime he's accused of. It is a list that goes on and on, filled with the most awful, unimaginable things possible. It would be easier to talk about crimes he isn't accused of committing. Like, he probably started dying and dashing just for the sake of adding more crimes to his resume. And today we received some new information with one of the many celebrities that associated with P. Diddy over the years, Jay-Z, who is now accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old at an after party with P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity who was there watching.
Since Combs was indicted by federal prosecutors last fall, these parties he was known for hosting and what celebrities may have attended has been the subject of intense scrutiny. But the blast radius around the star had been relatively contained until now.
The P. Diddy party list is a lot like the Epstein list in terms of rich and powerful people that attended them. And a lot of people, myself included, have wondered if these names will ever even see the light of day because they have the means of burying it potentially. But luckily, that doesn't seem to be the case here now that Jay-Z has been named. But they should all be named, and hopefully they will over the course of this case. Make like a game of guess who and name them. Because the shit that happened at these parties is terrible, horrible, just deplorable shit. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we learned that P. Diddy threw a party where they dug up Jeffrey Dahmer's corpse and paraded around Weekend at Bernie's style or something. Like, the things that have reportedly happened there are things that everyone associated needs to face consequences for. And now Jay-Z is the first one that has been named.
The anonymous woman, who was 13 at the time, described in the lawsuit as being drugged and raped at an MTV VMAs after party she says Combs hosted in 2000. According to the suit, she recalls accepting a drink from a waitress that made her feel woozy and lightheaded before she says she was raped by Jay-Z and then Combs in a bedroom as an unnamed female celebrity watched.
There's a lot of people that have been running defense, kind of just playing like the pseudo PR department for celebrities that have attended P. Diddy's parties but are innocent of any wrongdoing, saying things like, yeah, they may have attended a party, a hootenanny or two of P. Diddy's, but they didn't know anything was bad there. They didn't know there were any kids there or any victims of sex trafficking. They just went to a party. They had no clue. And I feel like that's a load of fucking horseradish, because you would know that that is a child. That is a 13-year-old. That is a toddler. They just stopped believing in Santa Claus. There's no way you wouldn't know that there were kids there if there's 13-year-olds running around. That's craziness. And that wouldn't be a huge red flag to any of these celebrities. Like, it's not normal to have a 13-year-old at a fucking VMA after party. And a 13-year-old being served a drink, like, that waitress would know they just served a drink to a child. Even if the waitress didn't know that it was spiked, why are you serving a 13-year-old kid alcohol? This is why I think everyone that attended these parties is very likely guilty of some heinous shit. So this 13-year-old was allegedly served the spiked drink that made her feel woozy and was then raped by Jay-Z and then P. Diddy, and apparently an unnamed female celebrity was watching. I'm pretty surprised they didn't name the female celebrity here. I don't really understand why. Maybe that's for like a different case coming up.
Jay-Z swiftly issuing a statement Sunday calling the claims heinous and accusing the woman's attorney of trying to blackmail him, suggesting the attorney had tried to seek a settlement first, adding, quote, "I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. My heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world." The couple will have to explain the, quote, cruelty and greed of people to their children. Combs, too, has denied any allegations of sexual assault.
Jay-Z is strongly denying these claims, and one thing that's important to note here is that the lawyer, Tony Busby, he's not squeaky clean. This is no saint here. He's got some dirty laundry of his own. He actually did get sued not too long ago for an alleged assault on a former client, and then got sued again for extortion, where a celebrity and their team have accused Tony Busby of throwing out wildly false, horrific allegations fabricated allegations of sexual assault, and has a pattern of leveling baseless and fabricated malicious allegations at high-profile individuals and threatening to name them publicly if they fail to pay exorbitant sums of money. So fundamentally what they're claiming is that Tony Buzbee indulges in rumor to leverage bad headlines and bad press for celebrities, so that way they will just settle out of court with him. Now, it's very possible that that extortion lawsuit is from a celebrity who has attended these Diddy parties and is panicking, trying to cover their own ass by trying to assassinate Tony Buzbee's character. That's possible, too. There's no way of knowing for sure right now. I just thought it was worth mentioning that Tony Buzbee does have a little poop on his butt. But that doesn't mean, and there's no evidence to suggest, that he or the victims he represents are lying about their allegations. This case has just begun. It's the first one that has named another celebrity outside of P. Diddy, so we'll see as the facts continue to come out. Right now, there's no evidence to suggest that this is all made up, and there's also no evidence to confirm any of the allegations, because it's still just too early into this case. So I'll keep my finger on the pulse of it. I'm sure this will be a very big case that'll be talked about a lot. And I do want to just say, even if it turns out that this case isn't real against Jay-Z, I still don't believe Jay-Z is innocent of, like, wrongdoing. He was so close with P. Diddy for so many years, there is no fucking way. There is no chance on God's green earth that Jay-Z didn't know about the horrible shit that P. Diddy was doing. Because these parties, like, it was all right in their faces. It wasn't a secret, per se. Like, the celebrities that attended knew that there was some foul, fishy shit going on there. If you had kids running around at parties. And even if this 13-year-old that Tony Buzbee's representing turns out, like, never even went to a P. Diddy party or something, there still are tons and tons of other cases with overwhelming amounts of evidence to suggest that there were kids at these P. Diddy parties. And celebrities, I think, would know what a kid looks like versus an adult. So I just don't think someone as close to P. Diddy as Jay-Z was would possibly be squeaky clean here. Like, they would know about a lot of these crimes. Even if he didn't directly participate in them, I think him knowing about it and refusing to do anything is still extremely fucking horrible too. But again, this case has just come out, so we'll learn about whether or not these claims are true as it develops.
Now, in a statement posted online, Buzbee, the lawyer, acknowledged sending Jay-Z a letter prior to filing this complaint, prior to this whole thing, seeking a confidential mediation, but says his client never demanded a penny from Jay-Z. At the time, she is now seeking an unspecified amount in damages, guys.
Jay-Z did post a lengthy response, basically saying Tony is an ambulance chaser that's attempting to blackmail him and extort him for money, using some absolutely horrific allegations to try and have him cave in and settle and just pay a bunch of money based on nothing at all. And Tony Buzbee then responded saying that it's not blackmail at all, and says, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He even filed this frivolous case under a pseudonym. And then he confirms that he did send a letter prior to this lawsuit, but it was looking for confidential mediation and never demanded a single penny from Jay-Z. Now, I haven't passed the bar. I barely passed my fucking SATs, so I'm not going to pretend to understand how lawsuits work, but what I do know is that in a civil lawsuit, Jay-Z is not necessarily going to go to jail if it turns out all of this is true and he's found guilty on all counts of this lawsuit. It would then go to paying out an unspecified amount of damages, as the news segment covered there. So I don't understand the sending a letter for confidential mediation and exactly what that entails. I really don't get the whole scope of it. All I know is that this is the first celebrity outside of P. Diddy that has now been accused of horrible things at P. Diddy's parties, and I think that this will be the first of many. Again, I really feel there is a huge number of celebrities that either participated in or knew about a lot of the illegal, horrible, vile shit that was happening with P. Diddy and his parties. And I guess we'll see if Jay-Z is one of those celebrities that knew or participated soon enough. Like, this case just started, So, we'll see what happens. That's really about it. See ya. I posted a video 2 days ago that showed myself and some of Florida's top minds getting together using math and science to figure out exactly how this woman named Lily Phillips was going to try and accomplish the inhuman feat of having sex with 1,000 men in 24 hours. Like, that is something that Stan Lee would be recruiting for his Avengers squad in real life. There's also been doctors coming out urging her not to do this. It's too extreme. This will be a cooter catastrophe. And I think the experts are right in their concern here. I may not be a vaginal scholar. I don't know everything there is to know about the vagina, but I do know that 1,000 of anything is a lot. I would probably get winded and need to go to the hospital if I chewed 1,000 pieces of gum in 24 hours. Couldn't even imagine 1,000 penis. Like, this is one of those things that I think could probably even kill Wolverine. Like, if Wolverine tried to take 1,000 dick in the butt, his ass would die. That he wouldn't be able to regenerate that, even with the adamantium and regeneration factor at play. Like, this is something that is actually unbelievable that she's going to try and accomplish. The human body wasn't designed to withstand that level of pounding. And we had more questions than answers, so I went to the source directly, asking her, about strategy and all kinds of different questions, and she actually got back to me. A lot of people have been wondering, did she respond? And the answer is yes. So yesterday on stream, before playing Path of Exile 2, I got together with the chat and we started to come up with a list of questions that we wanted answers to. So I'm going to show you how that went and I'll give you an update on everything there. But I know you also have a question right now, which is, where can I get that beautiful classified Moist Global hoodie? Well, you can go to moistglobal.com to pick up this bad boy. This classified line is all about aliens and redacted documents because I love that shit so much. So there's hoodies, there's sweatpants, there's a beanie and a hat. The hat has a cute alien on it, but I left it at the warehouse because I was wearing it yesterday. It's a great line. Check it out. Just saw the video about the girl trying 1,000 dudes is crazy. Yeah, the little Grand Slam sampler. She actually got back to me. When Matt and Danny hop on, we can start getting our questionnaire together to figure out exactly how she plans to tackle 1,000 dudes in 24 hours. 1,000 dudes over a lifetime is common, but 24 hours? What? 1,000 dudes over a lifetime is common? I don't know about that. I don't know where you're getting your data from. Anime or something? I'll tell you right now. Quad digits? Not common. I haven't even jorked it 1,000 times. That's true. That's a really good question. I bet I also haven't reached 4 digits on masturbation. Rookie numbers? Well, I've never done more than one peepness stretch a day. So we'll do some math. Probably started when I was, 12, 13, so about 17 years worth of experience. And then I didn't, even going through puberty, I didn't masturbate much. So we'll do an average of let's just do 3 times a month. We'll use that number here. I'm going to break out the calculator. So if I did 3 times a month every year for the last 17 years, I will have only played the skin flute 612 times. But then it's impossible to know for sure because then there'd be some months where I'd do more, where I'd get really feverish. But I think it'd be close. I don't know if I've actually done 1,000 jerks 3 times a month. Yeah, I really did not hit it that hard back in the day. How's she gonna find 1,000 men to sign up for it? She has applications. She's doing a casting call. I don't know what the requirements are, which is a question I'd like to ask her. I'll do a bullet point format. What are the requirements of the athletes that apply? Is it to completion? What counts as sex? Ooh, that's another good question. Will they be tested? Because I imagine she doesn't want to contract 1,000 STDs, so what about STD concerns? Do you have what would be a vaginal masseuse? A gynecologist? Probably not a gynecologist, but someone to 1,000 dudes in 24 hours, like, her pussy's gonna blow up. Like, you won't survive. You'd need a professional, but I don't even know what professional would specialize in that. So I don't know how to ask that. I guess I could... Here, I'll do it all-encompassing. Do you have a pit crew? I'll put in parentheses in case she doesn't watch NASCAR or F1 or anything. Team that will help. How will she eat or pee? Another good question. Are there bathroom breaks? Food breaks? Catering for athletes? Nice. Maybe they can prepare themselves beforehand and immediately... That's not even going to be a good speedrun strat. The only real speedrun strat you can do for this is you would start naked, so you don't have to waste time taking clothes off. So you just have a queue of 1,000 naked men, and it's just like a assembly line that you go down. That's the only way. That's the only real speedrun shortcut. That's wrong. You'll also need lube. Oh, good question. That's a good question to ask. How do I ask that? Lube question? I'll just do lube question mark. I don't even know how to phrase it. I think she'll know what I mean. Is she going to start from smallest to biggest? That'd be a good strategy. I don't think it'd save time or anything, but it would definitely help with pain, I would imagine. Will there be fluffers for the next 10 or so dudes so they aren't soft when it's their turn? I already asked about, like, her pit crew. I'll specify fluffers, though, because I imagine that has to be a necessity here. I don't even... Man, my questions read like a caveman asking them. Will there be team of fluffers so time isn't lost on softness to hardness? I don't know what's going on with my brain right now. I'm not asking questions in a coherent way. There, that's a much better way of asking that. Will there be a team of fluffers so time isn't lost waiting for erection? Because you could lose a lot of time on that. And especially if if they go past the 1 minute 26 seconds allotment... because someone can't get hard, you'd have to like throw out the contestant and bring someone in quick, because there's no way. You'd already lose too much time. I will ask that, though. Because I imagine optimal position would be doggy, right? That'd be the quickest entry, and they wouldn't have to worry about, like, going on, like, you know, like, splaying out. I said, what position is used for optimized speed? Yeah, I'll just start with these questions, and then if more arise when Matt and Danny get here, I'll throw it to her. I already asked if it's to completion and everything. All here, just so that way we're all on the same page. The questions I asked were, what are the requirements of the athletes that apply? Is it to completion? What counts as sex? What about STD concerns? Do you have a pit crew, team of experts that specialize in pain management? Do you have a team that organizes the participants? Are there bathroom breaks, food breaks, catering for athletes, lube? Will there be a team of fluffers so time isn't lost waiting for erections? What position is used for optimized speed? There should be a few hundred on the bench just in case. Where is this going to take place? A place where you can fit more than 1,000 people? No. So, at our round table meeting about it, we concluded that what's likely going to be the case is people are going to have time blocks. So it won't be 1,000 dudes all at once in a queue. It'll be like probably batches of like 20 dudes that show up at this time, another batch of 20 dudes that show up at this time. That kind of organization would be my guess. Because you're not going to find a place for 1,000 naked dudes. Like not even Ram Ranch could handle that amount. So it's going to be blocks and showing up.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Also, Lily responded, so I tossed her a bunch of questions, so hopefully we'll get some more clarity on that soon.
What was her response?
Oh, she said that she thought it was fun, our conversation, and she'll answer all the questions that we have. So I sent her a huge list of questions, and now they're not there anymore for some reason, because it said she has vanish mode on, so I don't know what that means.
Ah, shit. Now the real question is, did she approve us to go shoutcast?
She didn't say anything about that. Vanish mode is a feature on Instagram that lets users send messages that disappear after they're viewed. Oh, that's nice. That means she viewed it. She's probably just she's probably just talking with her team about the answers to the questions, what she can share.
Yeah. She printed that out, put on her reading glasses, and she's putting thoughtful responses to each question.
She got out a cup of joe.
So, I saw some comments on the video saying even Lisa Sparks has come out and said like the news was
Yep.
very exaggerated and it was only like 150.
I just mentioned that a little bit ago too. That apparently there's a lot of debate on even if it's real or not. I read a little bit about it. I didn't know Lisa said it though.
That's what a comment said. I did zero research to confirm.
Good. The way it should be. This is the chat. So she has vanish mode on, and I sent that whole list. So now that whole list isn't there anymore. Does that mean does she still have the list, or do I need to double text her and ask if she has the list? Yeah, I know it means she read it, but can she still like access it? Because there was like fucking 15 questions on there. There's no way she remembers all of it.
No, I'm sure she wrote it down on a notepad.
If she read it and closed it, it's gone. Okay, I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. I'm just gonna say, hey, did you get my questions?
You've decided you're going to type it in the way that sounds like you're like, hey, why haven't you responded yet?
I have no other way of asking it. Why
don't you just say, they disappeared on my end. Do you still have them?
That's a much better way. 24 hours later and still radio silence on the questions, but I wanted to give you all this update because I'm getting asked about it so much. I asked a bunch of questions. Hopefully we'll get some answers to them at some point, and even if we don't, eventually come, the Super Bowl of sex, we'll see how it all plays out, I suppose. But yeah, just wanted to keep you all in the loop on this. That's about it. So yeah. I don't know what was going on today, but it looks like YouTube's algorithm found the galaxy gas because they recommended some very interesting videos to me today on the home page. And one of them caught my eye right away. I couldn't refuse clicking on it. It was called Bigfoot Farted in My Living Room. The video is 2 years old with 2.9 thousand views. I don't even know how YouTube found this in the archives to push it to me, but God bless them for it, because I truly believe that content like this is what YouTube is all about. This is the soul of the platform. Just a man and his camera telling a good old story about Bigfoot spreading his cheeks and laying a fucking stinky one in the living room. It comes from a gentleman named Stacy Hazlitt. I thought it was going to be like some kind of made-up silly story. Like the title, Bigfoot Farted in My Living Room, sounds like a children's story you read to them to get them to like settle down or eat their vegetables. Like, you better eat your vegetables or else Sasquatch is going to pay us a visit and do this, and P.U. it'll be bad. But it's a real story with his account of not only Bigfoot, but the entire Foot Clan that he is affiliated with, as well as a bit on Dogman. It's such a captivating story, and YouTube had a hard read on me today, knowing that I would be gripped by it. I've recently been on a paranormal binge where I've been doing like ghost hunts and investigations looking for irrefutable proof of spirits and all of that. Well, this right here is making me believe I gotta get out there and look for cryptids as well, because this needs to be thoroughly investigated. Now, I want to be clear up front, I'm not making fun of him or trying to poke holes in his story here. Who am I to say? Maybe Bigfoot really did come in there with a full fucking colon and just letting loose a neurotoxin from his cheeks. I have no way of knowing. Now, I'm not personally a believer in Bigfoot or Dogman. I would love if they were real. Perhaps Stacy has evidence, but the point of this isn't like to make fun of him or anything like that. I just think it's a really fun story to play around with, and he tells it really well. It's just a riveting tale. And like I said, I just think this kind of content is the essence of what makes YouTube special. Just firing up the old webcam and just talking about a story that means something to you. Just yapping about something that is special, or just having a good time, Not everything needs to be this highly produced, highly monetized, optimized for mid-roll ads type content and shit. This is the kind of content that I just love. So, big hats off to Stacy for sharing this story.
Hi, people. I'm back one more time. Named Stacy Hazlitt for the new viewers. Come up with a picture of a kill on one of his shows that didn't make any sense to him. He couldn't figure out exactly what the kill was and how it happened. Anyway, as soon as that kill come up, the first thing I seen on it was Dogman. I contacted Jack, my Dogman expert, and he sent me a picture of a confirmed Dogman kill
In 2 minutes, Stacey Hazlitt has accomplished what Rings of Power failed to do in 2 seasons. It got me invested. So, he's talking about another YouTube channel called How to Hunt, and in one of their segments, they must have had a picture of some kind of kill. And according to Stacey, that kill that they couldn't quite identify was Dogman. So he got his Dogman expert on the horn, Jack, to send him a picture of a confirmed Dogman kill so he could compare the evidence. This is kind of like Rick from Pawn Stars, where he's got like an expert for everything, it seems. So Jack is his Dogman guy, and he pulls up the picture of the confirmed Dogman kill.
I'm going to show it to you if I can find it on my phone. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've lost it. Let me go. Okay, here it is.
He then brings up a picture of the confirmed Dogman execution. I don't think I can show you that picture, not because it's necessarily all that gory, but more so fear of the deep state and what they might do if the truth gets out.
Steve done a thing. He showed a video on there one time of what somebody took like a night vision picture of Dogman attacking soldiers and killing a bunch of soldiers. And then the next thing you know, the same video, they're watching this. Here come the Bigfoot, and they killed all the Dogmen. And you can see this in the video.
Stacey warns that Dogmen are particularly violent, and then talks about the time that Dogmen killed some soldiers, and then the Bigfoot team came through and wiped out the Dogmen. So there must be some kind of like power struggle between Dogmen and Bigfoot. I don't know the exact relationship between these two clans. I don't really know the dynamic, but it sounds like some kind of plot line out of Warhammer 40k with like the fucking Imperium versus the Tyrannid. This seems like a war that we wouldn't want to get mixed up in. Getting sandwiched in the middle there would probably be certain death. I say treat it like Godzilla. Let them fight. And it does make me curious. What side are the Chupacabra on? A few years back, I made a banger tweet that said, "The Chupacabra is real, it just fucked my grandpa." And while that may not have been a real story or anything, that was just a throwaway shitpost, it does make me wonder now. Has a Chupacabra ever fucked someone? And that tweet been a bit insensitive. Food for thought. All I know for certain is I'm not here to discount Stacey Hazlitt's beliefs on the Dogmen or Big Feet, and he references a video where he says that you can see the Dogmen allegedly killing soldiers and then Big Feet coming through and fucking clobbering the Dogmen. So I just need to try and find that video, which I haven't been able to yet.
Anyhow, Dogman's very violent. The Dogman is an underling of the Bigfoot. They're not up to Bigfoot standards. They're getting real prevalent. There's a lot of them. They're showing up everywhere. Park rangers are seeing a lot of them. Soldiers are seeing them. 4 guys were killed with the Dogman killed 4 guys and let one got away because they threw a rock and hit him in the face. That's on Steve's show also. Avoid the Dogman. He is not like the Foots.
I gotta say, the Dogmen sound like real assholes. Like, of course it's not fun getting hit in the face with a rock. No one likes that. You know, you gotta be a real jerk to do something like that. But to go and slaughter 4 people in cold blood, that's such an overreaction, you know what I mean? Like, there was definitely a more civil way of handling that, and it just kind of gives all Dogmen, like, a bad rep. Because, as Stacey's saying, they now are viewed as more violent, you know? And now I guess Bigfoot has to come in there and fucking slap them around, put them back in line.
The Foots consider me part of their clan. I have a hard time dealing with this sometimes. Johnny came out to my house, and the Foots were real prevalent back there at my house. They were always there. And I took Johnny back through the woods. And as we're going through the woods, the Foots are following us around back there. We get home, we get back around, go home. They stay there for dinner. We're eating dinner, and Johnny's sitting there at the table, and he shares something saying, "Come out here," to Johnny. Johnny said, "Who said that, Josh?" I says, "No, nobody said nothing." This was a message for Johnny from the Foots.
I didn't know Sasquatch was capable of telepathy. I mean, call me an ignorant buffoon, a silly Cro-Magnon for being unaware, but I had no clue that the Foots kind of function like Charles Xavier, able to like beam information into people's heads. That is a super strong and useful ability for them, I imagine, in order to like stay under the radar if they're able to get inside our heads. But he's talking now about his friend. So Stacy's had many encounters with the Foots. He's even accepted as a member of their clan. He's talking about how prevalent they used to be at his property, where they'd always be around, just kind of, overdosing on chill pills. Like, these dudes sound like they just chill hard as fuck. The Foots just kicking back, maybe enjoying a brewski or two. He talks about how some of them used to like to intermingle, but mainly they just kind of like to keep to themselves and I guess just kind of relax around the property.
Well, me and Johnny are really tight, and the Foots know that, so they attached to Johnny a little bit, and he took them home with him. Johnny is always, they're around, and Johnny knows it. He gets a little buzzing in his head the way I get with mine, only his is a little different. His is like static or something. Johnny's out there, and he'll be out in the yard, and he'll hear right beside him somewhere. He will hear somebody's stomach growling, like that. He's had him fart on him, and stink.
So we're not so different after all. Even the Foots get a case of the bubble guts. So I'm not really sure how the Foots really work anymore. I was always under the impression that Bigfoot was just kind of like this big monster man in the forest, real hairy and shit, and he likes beef jerky. But the way that Stacy describes the Foots make him sound like an actual like superhero. Well, kind of superhero. More in line with like a DC Comics character. So, actually, not even. More like some kind of spiritual being, because he talks about how it attaches to Johnny. Like, all the Foots attached to Johnny. I don't know if he meant, like, physically, like they fucking lock arms with him and, like, go home with him, or more in, like, a metaphysical sense, where, like, their energy is now attached to Johnny. I guess I just don't really know for sure. The only thing I can be certain of here is that them bitches are farting, because apparently he's had that happen multiple times.
He's told me that before. They have farted right out there on end. Okay, well that's cute, but he's had that happen. Well, guess what? I think it was Saturday. Yeah, this Saturday. Sharon and Donna and Josh were in the living room. All of a sudden, something farted right in the living room. Wasn't none of them. And they're looking all at each other and what the hell? And it stunk. It stunk. Bigfoot farted in my living room.
Now don't panic. According to the comments, he answered a question and stated that the smell did not linger. So they didn't need to evacuate or anything. The misery was ephemeral. The fart came and it went. And the Foots, I bet, were having a big giggle about it, having a hearty belly laugh after farting in Stacy's living room. I think that's pretty impolite, especially given the history that Stacy has with the clan, but maybe again I'm just not familiar with the customs of the Foots. So overall, I think it's just a really interesting story, and I just went on a really refreshing ride watching this video. So I wanted to share it with all of you and just kind of talk about it a little bit. I will probably get even deeper into cryptids than I already am. Most of you know I love cryptids. I've never gone on like a real cryptid hunt outside of like one time, and we didn't even stay the entire night because of coyotes, but I would love to do more investigating on cryptids since I'm already taking the plunge into the paranormal as is. I think it's just a pretty natural progression of that. So I'll probably start doing that, and this was kind of the catalyst to jumpstart that passion. So big thanks to Stacy for sharing the story. Go check out his channel, and wishing him the best. That's really about it. See ya. Last night on stream, a chatter traveled through dimensions to make me aware of a powerful entity known as Baba Vanga, who was a Bulgarian mystic and healer who passed away in 1996, but she was actually called the Nostradamus of the Balkans because she made so many predictions, and according to a lot of the people that truly subscribe to her power, a lot of her predictions have come true. So I decided to make like a colonoscopy and dive into this hole here to really uncover the truth behind Baba Vanga's abilities. Now, real quick, I just want to say the streams that I've been doing the last couple days have been unbelievably fun. There's been a lot of new faces in the chat that have just brought up a lot of really fun topics, like the other day with the orifice, last night with Baba Vanga. If you're not coming to my streams, you're really missing out. We're getting into some really deep shit. But anyway, we went over a lot of Baba Vanga's predictions on stream, and I did a lot of research after stream on her myself, personally. And she's got a lot of achievements to her name here. Her fucking gamer score for predictions is extremely high. She's got more badges than a Boy Scout because of all these predictions she's allegedly got right. By far her biggest, her crowning jewel, the one you see in every headline that mentions her name, even to this day, is her allegedly predicting 9/11. So this is what you'll see when you look into this. In 1989, Vanga allegedly exclaimed, "Horror, horror, the American brothers shall fall attacked by steel birds, wolves shall howl in the bushes, and innocent blood shall flow, those steel birds," you get it. This is her predicting 9/11, apparently. However, if you go back to try and look at any source with Baba Vanga saying anything like that pre-2001, it doesn't exist. This doesn't come up until well after 2001. In fact, that seems to be the case for a lot of the predictions she gets credit for. And for some reason, she gets credit for anything at all that happens in the world. If you went and got groceries today, well, you bet your sweet bippy Baba Vanga predicted it 26 years ago. If I went and masturbated right now, there'd be headlines about how Baba Vanga accurately predicted that Charles White would masturbate on April 18th, 2024 at 9 p.m. It's ridiculous. So from what I can tell, when anything happens, mainstream media or her followers will just say that Baba Vanga made that prediction over 26 years ago, and they won't even provide evidence half the time. And if they do, like in the case of 9/11 with the steel bird statement, no references to that exist prior to the event happening. So it seems to me, anytime something happens, they attribute it to Baba Vanga having predicted it after the fact. They put words in her mouth with predictions she herself never actually made. The predictions that she has made, like the official predictions from Baba Vanga that I can find, almost all of them have been wrong. Almost none of them have happened. And some of the ones she does get right are some very general ones that I feel a lot of people probably could have gotten right. The same exact thing with Nostradamus, who made so many fucking predictions that, yes, of course, some of them will be correct, because you spit out so many. I have a higher success rate and accuracy with my predictions on fucking video game announcements, and for some reason, they still write about Baba Vanga as if she's nailing all of these predictions all the time. It happens so frequently. Like in 2017, here's an article. Mystic who predicted ISIS 9/11 had 2 prophecies for 2018. You know what those prophecies were? One of them was that China would be the next superpower taking over the US, and that a new form of energy will be discovered on Venus. You can find media writing about her every year and attributing all kind of predictions to her, almost none of which ever even come close to coming true. For last year, 2023, here was her predictions. She said that there'd be a devastating nuclear disaster that would unfold in 2023 with a major power plant explosion that would cause toxic clouds to settle over Asia. And then there's another one of her predictions for 2023 about the Earth's orbit changing slightly. When we go through Baba Vanga's prediction timeline here in a moment, you're going to see that a lot of these sound like terrible sci-fi movie plots. Like time travel comes in, half animal, half human hybrids come in within like 100 years. It gets fucking crazy. It's like all of it is actually written by like Ridley Scott. But anyway, when I was going through mainstream media articles on Baba Vanga year by year, I noticed a pattern where they'd start talking about predictions that she in no way ever made from anything I can find. Not even her followers making rumors up about predictions, and yet mainstream media is saying that she said certain things that she just didn't. It's so weird. I really don't understand why. You can see Baba Vanga's predictions, and you can see that almost all of them are wrong. And yet, for some reason, people really believe that she had this superpower of predicting things before they happened. And the things she gets credit for are things that you yourself can't actually find any evidence of her ever making that prediction in the first place before the event happened. You're just taking strangers at their word that Baba Vanga said that before the event happened, even though there's no actual documentation to confirm that. It's just people saying, no, she said that. Trust me. That's my source. Trust me, bro. It's just very odd. It's so strange. Do you see the psychic Baba Vanga, who supposedly accurately predicted 9/11, who said World War III will be next month? I've heard about Baba Vanga. She's allegedly predicted things like World War II, Chernobyl, and Barack Obama becoming president. World War II? What do you mean? She predicted World War II? Why didn't she stop it? God damn it, Baba Vanga. She predicted the orifice. Yeah, that was her final prediction. Most terrifying of all, the flesh box. But let me see her World War III prediction, since apparently she made one of those, which I doubt. It's probably just people putting words in her mouth. She was known as the Nostradamus. She was known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans. She left behind predictions for every year up until 5079, when she said the world would end. What was her prediction for 2023? That's a lot of predictions to be making. One of the most alarming 2023 predictions attributed to Baba Vanga concerns a solar storm which could have caused calamitous consequences. So that didn't work. So that was a lie. Imagine though. I mean, she gets credit for anything that does happen. So even though her prediction was wrong, she still got credit for something else that happened totally unrelated. So, I mean, she still wins. Let's see the Baba Vanga predictions. 2010, World War III. Well, that didn't work. That was quick. So, she predicted World War III in 2010 and 2024? The war was supposed to begin on November 2010 and end in October 2014. Nuclear will be used initially and then chemical warfare. 2011, as a result of the fallout in the Northern Hemisphere, there will not be any animals or vegetation. 2014, man, this is what? 2023, she didn't even try very hard. In 2023, her prediction was a little bit of change in the Earth's orbit. Yeah, moderate. I don't know. Earth moved differently in 2023, I guess. And then 2025, yeah, Europe's still settled, kinda, a little bit. She's so popular in the Balkans, my president quoted her once. Why? Why? She's just wrong about everything. Like, immediately. If people were following her predictions, the world would be in a state of disarray. Thinking a world war was happening in November of 2010. And that the nuclear fallout was going to kill every animal and plant. In 2028, creating a new energy source, probably a controlled thermonuclear reaction. Hunger is gradually being overcome, and launched a manned spacecraft to Venus. How in the fuck would we go from pretty much no life left here, and within 10 years... have the ability to send a manned spacecraft to Venus and solve hunger? And also, what would we accomplish on Venus? That's like one of the worst planets we could visit. 2046, any bodies, organs can be manufactured. Cloning, replacing the bodies, is becoming one of the best methods of treatment. So she must have watched the movie The Island with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. During the attack on the Muslim Rome, the United States used a new kind of weapon, the climate. The sharp cooling, instant freezing. And then 2076, we get a classless society, communism. 2084, nature is restored. In 2088, there's a new disease, aging for a few seconds. And then 11 years later, rapid aging defeated. In 2100, we get an artificial sun that illuminates the dark side of the... What the fuck is the dark side of the Earth? In 2111, people become living robots. Then there's a small war. Hungary gets signals from space. Then we get Atlantis. Somehow, in 2164, the animals turn half human. That's quite a plot. Why would they do that? How would they do that? Do we do that to them? Yeah, I guess we finally get, like, cat girls. Okay, and then we get a new religion 3 years later. Probably in no small part because of the half-human animals that we've now got living in our world that sprung up out of nowhere. I imagine they probably started the new religion. Drought. Colony on Mars becomes a nuclear power and demands independence from Earth. When did we... She's leaving out crucial details. So now we have a colony on Mars that's demanding independence from Earth. At some point. I guess we abandoned Venus. Stop 2 volcanic eruptions. We now have a full functioning sea colony. Sun slowing thermonuclear processes, temperature drops. Humanity comes in contact with aliens, something terrible. And 2256, a spacecraft forgotten to Earth, terrible new disease. I don't know what that means. Is this like world patch notes? No, it's fucking Baba Vanga predictions, which apparently people really believe in, which is outrageous. Because she's just wrong about everything, clearly. She predicted World War III in 2010, and yet people still give her credit for everything that happens on the planet, saying she predicted it. In 2271, restart physical constants are changed, so the laws of physics change. You're telling me, 200 years from now, the laws of physics are going to change. Why would they do that? What the fuck? And then 2 years later, mixing yellow, white, and black races, new race. Wow, that's Jesus, Baba Vanga. We get time travel in 2288 and new contact with aliens. The sun cools and we're making attempts to light it again. That's actually the plot to a Courage the Cowardly Dog episode, when Courage, Eustace, and Muriel go to the sun and change its light bulb. There's a powerful eruption on the sun, which changes the force of gravity. So 3797, all life on Earth is killed, but mankind lay the foundations for new life in another stellar system. Assuming she means solar system. But we already have other planets that we've colonized. We've got Mars, apparently. We've got the power to artificially create suns. So yeah, I'm sure we can make do. 3854, the development of civilization virtually stops and people live flocks as beasts. But then we get a new prophet less than 20 years later that teaches us about religion. Huh? And then a new church. 4304, we found a way to win any disease. Due to mutation, people at last beginning to use their brains more than 34%. So we were stuck using 34% of our brain for how many thousands of years? In 4509, we're getting to know God. The man has Fina. What is that? Is that like swag? The man has Riz? What is that? And why are we getting to know him now? He just said, like, alright, look guys, 4,000 years is enough to stay up here. What's going on? It's good to meet you. Didn't she say that we have a time machine by now? Yeah, we had the time machine like 1,000 years ago. We had a time machine in like 2271, I think. Oh no, that's when the laws of physics changed. It was 2288 that we got time travel. So I feel like all of these things could have easily been avoided, like the bad stuff, if we just time travel. She gave us an OP technology way too early. 4599, we achieve immortality. 4674, development of civilization reaches its peak. The number of people living on different planets is about 340 billion. Assimilation begins with aliens. 5076, a boundary universe. With it, no one knows. 5078, the decision to leave the boundaries of the universe while about 40% of the population is against. We leave the boundaries of the universe? What's beyond the boundaries of the universe? That's like an anime plot. That's some Gurren Lagann shit. What? We just decided to leave the boundaries of the universe? How could we just even make that decision? We go to the universe sequel, I guess. But then in 5079, it's the end of the world. Who gives a fuck? We have like 1,000 worlds now. What are you talking about? We have so many planets. Who cares about the end of the world? That's small potatoes. I'm more curious about what we do when we leave the boundaries of the universe. That's DLC. Oh, yeah, perhaps. 3 out of 3,000, not bad. Well, the thing is, she also didn't even predict those things that she's getting credit for. They're not among her predictions. It's just people, for some reason, making it up on her behalf. But it's so weird, like, mainstream media plays into it as well. So, like, chilling predictions Baba Vanga made for 2024 that came true. The huge economic crisis. But she didn't do that. We just looked at her 2024 predictions. Well, there wasn't any. 2023, her prediction was the Earth orbit slightly changes. Is the Silk Song release date on there? Oh yeah, did she predict the final release date for the new Hollow Knight game? That's a good question. Let me check. Baba Vanga would know. I think she's just kind of become this figure that the media can draw on, like, oh, Baba Vanga says this. Gotta be careful, stay afraid. It's always wild and sad to me that we live in a time where no matter how vile the actions that you witness are, there will be people that will fight to defend them tooth and nail, as if their life depends on it. And these aren't actions that have any justifiable explanation, just truly evil things that are 100% confirmed real with video evidence backing it up as well as confessions, and yet still, there are people, brain rot little worms, jumping through these hoops, performing the most outrageous mental gymnastics that would put Cirque du Soleil to shame in order to somehow spin it as a good thing and that everyone else is wrong for criticizing it. This phenomenon has never been more infuriating than today, with the Dalai Lama situation. For those that don't know, the Dalai Lama recently, and there is a video showcasing all of this, I won't be playing any of it for obvious reason, you'll understand once I explain it. He had a child up on stage. He then kisses that young boy on the lips, the full-blown Tom Brady experience. But unlike Brady, this is not the Dalai Lama's kid. And he's also not done. He then says, "And suck my tongue." And he sticks his tongue out and then puts his tongue right in the face of that young boy and holds it there for a moment, like he was waiting to see if the kid would suck on it, like he's trying to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. And then when the kid doesn't, he then leans back and he starts giving a big hearty belly laugh like fucking Santa Claus on, on his sleigh, like, ah ha 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 ha, trying to play it off like he was just kidding. It was just a prank bro energy. And it's fucking disgusting. Obviously, I'm not going to show the video, but there is a video showing all of this. And somehow people are actually defending his actions. Now, I'm sure most of you know who the Dalai Lama is. You may even know him as His Holiness, though after this I imagine a lot of people will call him His Horniness, because this shit is fucking foul. So, I just don't understand, and we're going to get to his apology in a moment, but let's just break it down to the very immutable facts. He kisses a child on the lips that is not his kid, which I think is just a full stop fucking weird thing to do. Maybe it's a cultural thing where that's more normal elsewhere, but even still I find it very fucking odd. Especially with the way that he does it. The kid is pretty reluctant, he doesn't want to, but the Dalai Lama takes his hand under his chin, pushes his head up, and then kisses him on the lips. It's like a fucking scene out of Twilight, or some kind of really uncomfortable anime moment. It's so gross. But what's indefensible, 100% indefensible, is him then sticking his tongue out and telling that child to suck on his tongue. So then he's got his wrinkly old tongue that he's hanging out like a dog who's panting after running around, and then he just wiggles it on up in there, right into that child's face, and holds it steady, waiting. Now here's the official statement from the Dalai Lama and his team on his Twitter, which I didn't even know he had a Twitter. That's already kind of fucking wild that the Dalai Lama Twitter's got 19 million followers and all that. But anyway, it says, a video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world for the hurt his words may have caused. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. He regrets the incident. So that kid wanted a hug, and he gambled and lost. He got a lot more than a hug out of this interaction. He got fucking trauma from it, no doubt. So let's break that down. They are unironically using it was just a joke. He was just kidding. Well, what's the fucking joke? He was only pretending to be a pedophile and a predator? I don't understand what the joke is. If that kid sucked his tongue, if he actually did suck his tongue, then what? Would the Dalai Lama be like, haha, dude, you sucked my tongue, haha, oh, you little rascal, you idiot, you fell for my joke, pranked, fucking pranked, welcome to TikTok. This makes no sense. This isn't a joke at all. Kissing a boy on the lips and then telling him to suck your tongue? What? That's the worst true combo joke ever told, ever. If you wanted to make a joke in an innocent and playful way, why not stick to the classics like pull my finger and then you shit your pants when they pull your finger? This is stupid. This is the worst defense I've ever seen. Actually trying it was just a prank, bro. But what makes it even stupider is the fact that there are people, granted not the majority of people, but there is a not small amount of people that are defending it, saying you guys just don't understand his sense of humor. This is ridiculous. Everyone's overreacting or it's out of context. Holy shit, the amount of stupid juice that must be being pumped into the water supply is getting to dangerous levels to actually start justifying open pedophilia and predator behavior like this. This is fucking gross. People are actually saying that he was clearly just kidding. Let's assume that you really believe that. Would you be okay if he did that to your kid? Like out in public, right? If a stranger comes up to you and kisses your boy on the lips, and then he's like, I was just kidding, bro. Let him suck my tongue real quick, as part of the joke. Would you be like okay with it and fist bump the guy? Be like, oh, that's a fucking great joke, bro. I doubt it. I fucking doubt it. So why is the Dalai Lama getting a pass? The action is still the same. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely disgusting. And to go even further, there's a lot of people that are using one defense in particular, saying that it's a greeting. He was using the kissing on the lips and the tongue sticking out thing as part of a greeting. Let's run with that idea for a moment. Does the greeting then extend to sticking that tongue in the child's face and telling him to suck it? Is that part of the greeting as well, like a secret handshake? I don't think so. I've never seen that before. Like, I highly doubt it. This isn't action that has any justification for it whatsoever. Full stop. There is nothing anyone can ever say that would justify what the Dalai Lama did to that child on stage. It's fucking disgusting and it's inexcusable. And I'm really tired of seeing people try and argue that it's okay. Like, there's nothing about that should even remotely be like normalized or encouraged or written off as just a joke or goofing around. And honestly, this little apology that they whipped up in the Notes app in like 5 minutes here is making me even more concerned for how long this behavior must have been going on for, because they're writing it off as just the Dalai Lama being the Dalai Lama. He's a little quirky. He likes to tease, even in front of the cameras in public. Well, what the fuck does he do in private then? Like, holy shit, if this is something that they're trying to just say, it's like, it's just, part of what he does. You guys just don't really get his sense of humor. Like, holy shit. What kind of awful things must be going on in private? A lot of people raise that point as well. Like, damn, if he's willing to do this in public and then say, like, it's just, him being him, like, my God, it must be even worse in private. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about this whole situation a little bit. That's about it. See ya. Yeah, I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. No more granny shifting. We're gonna talk about a controversial topic: Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite, and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together. And one of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly. So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised on this broadcast here. Reason being is because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids, on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite, because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people were trying to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience, and just having porn, real porn being played, versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong. I clearly failed the CAPTCHA here and was labeled a bot, because a lot of people do view these in the same category, in the same wheelhouse. A YouTuber named MewKitty made a whole video on it talking about Twitch streamers and their hypocrisy, a video that I make an appearance in towards the end, and it's exactly what I just talked about, where I said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up Pornhub, but I laughed when Fansly was a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. And not long after her video, Scott Schaefer made content covering the same topic, where, once again, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 superstar Charles White comes into the frame once again with another banger cameo. And the argument is the same. Charlie called it out when Aiden Ross pulled up real porn, but didn't call it out when QT Cinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream I talked about this last night, and I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away. During that stream, and in the exact same video MewKitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from reading her comments, not like her personal comments, but like the audience comments, that the majority of the people didn't even watch the full statement. Which isn't her fault, and I even don't blame the audience, because right now, the human race is being plagued by brain rot, parasite, short-form content, which has ruined the attention span of people. So I don't necessarily find it shocking that they didn't watch all 10 minutes of what I was saying. But in that clip, I outright say both can be bad, but they are not the same to me. Thus, I disagree that it's hypocritical that I made statements about Aiden Ross and the porn thing being really weird, and I didn't make the exact same statements for QT Cinderella's Fansly sponsor. I'll go ahead and prove that it's there right now, real quick, before getting into why I think they're so different, but ultimately both are not a great thing to be advertising to an audience that is undoubtedly going to have children watching. Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans, or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah. Now let's make like an egg and hard boil this subject real quick. So, the difference between Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub and QT Cinderella bringing up a Fansly sponsor is very clear right off rip. If all of you in the classroom right now have your thinking caps on, you'll notice a huge difference. I was able to play the entire Fansly ad as it aired, because they are all clothed. You are not getting immediate nudity or pornographic content. It is an advertisement for pornographic content going to the website, yes, but unlike Aiden Ross's moment with real Pornhub just being their actual fucking full-blown porn, you got pussy, tits, everything all right there immediately, that is not what you got with the QT Cinderella Fansly sponsorship. Thus, immediately, those two are already different. Showing the porn to an unsuspecting audience out of fucking nowhere is a lot worse than advertising a service that has porn on it. And that's something Scott Schaefer does touch on in his video. His is more of a deeper look at the subject, and MewKitty's is more memeing with it. I always thought her content was supposed to be silly and over-the-top trolling, but she does seem genuinely upset at me, and I imagine it's because of my statements, and I also did say I'm not the biggest fan of the way she edits her content. I called it Zoomer editing, which sounds mean-spirited when I really didn't mean it to be. She edits her videos like very chaotic, on purpose, where it's a lot of sound effects, you know, like a fucking gong being hit pretty often, or like really loud blasting music pretty often, and that's just never been my cup of tea. But I never meant it as an insult on her honor, it's just not something that I'm personally a huge fan of, the same way that she doesn't like my content. I didn't mean it to be mean, and I apologize that it may have come across that way. I certainly didn't mean it to. But the whole point of me mentioning this right now is I do want to say that Scott Schaefer did also talk about the difference between playing porn versus advertising the Fansly. He did touch on that. Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category, where it is bikinis and very, very revealing clothing. And that is a category that Twitch itself advertises. If you go to Twitch when you're not logged in, a lot of the recommended channels are hot tub streams, so Twitch itself does peddle content that is clearly sexually charged. My point with this statement was to draw the immediate comparison that this Fansly advertisement wasn't immediately exposing young viewers to sexually explicit material, and it's even more easily accessible for them on Twitch already by just going to the category right next to the fucking Just Chatting one. That was the whole point of that. That's something XQC didn't quite understand, calling me wrong, saying that there's not a bleached butthole right away or something on hot tubs category, thus checkmate. Hits me with the scholar's mate. That wasn't my point. My point was the ad itself didn't contain any explicit imagery or anything highly sexual, at least nothing that was worse than what is already currently being advertised on Twitch in that category. And when you go to Fansly, there is still not immediately ass and titties in your face right away. Thus, I didn't think by scanning the QR code people would immediately just be fucking blasted with porn all over the place like Charles Xavier jacking into Cerebro. So I viewed the advertisement very differently than a lot of people because even when you scan the QR code, you still don't immediately get porn. There's already a lot of degrees of separation and a lot of obstacles to go through, as opposed to Aiden Ross, which just pulled up porn as a jump scare during fucking stream, right? It to me, still is very different. I also was under the assumption that Fansly was only accessible to 18 plus after you verified your age. I don't use the platform. I thought you had to verify you were 18 plus in order to even get to the pornographic content. Thus, I thought it was even harder for children to have got porn out of that advertisement if they weren't of age. Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it. I thought there was a lot of steps to it, making it very difficult for them. But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is extremely easily accessible for anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So, I made the comparison that the Fansly advertisement reminded me of all of the strip club billboards that are spaced around all of the major interstates. Anytime I go up north to Pennsylvania, there is hundreds of strip clubs being advertised, and on those advertisements, there are women in bikinis and very, very revealing lingerie. And they tell you exactly where to go for the strip club. Well, when you're driving through, there's a good chance a lot of those cars are going to have kids in it and see those advertisements. So I compared Fansly to a strip club billboard because, in principle, if Fansly worked the way I thought it did, where you had to be 18 years or older to enter, it's kind of like a strip club advertisement because a kid could see that, but still couldn't access the content because the strip club would obviously turn them away. Ideally, assuming you're not going to some kind of fucking shady, corrupt strip club. And I thought Fansly was the same way. But apparently that's not the case, so that comparison doesn't work anymore. And I recognize that now. And I also made the comparison to the old GoDaddy commercials, which were highly sexualized content that was broadcast during like Super Bowl, during sporting events, where it was things like a girl with huge honkers, her straps like breaking off, and like she's in a courtroom and like judges going hubba hubba hubba, and then like she's trying to say something and the other strap's like wiggling, and then it's like right when it breaks off and about to reveal the giant milkers, it says go to GoDaddy.com to finish it. And I wasn't really making a big point out of that. I just wanted to point out that, man, it really does feel like the early 2000s again with a lot of the internet arguments we get into these days. It's shit we've had for years. History really does kind of repeat itself. Because I do still think that's a pretty fair comparison. That's fundamentally like the same thing. The argument back then was, think of the children. They were watching this sport, and then all of a sudden, sexual content advertisement. So that's all I was really saying with that one. But yeah, in closing, I feel like there is no real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub weird and didn't immediately start calling out how weird it was for Fansly to be a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. I feel like the two aren't really comparable. Blasting porn, real porn, immediately to your audience out of nowhere, no warning, and right in their face, just on stream, is completely different than an advertisement to a platform which does have porn, but a lot of things that they'd have to do in order to access it. Granted, I've now learned that it's easier than I thought it was. I still think the two are drastically different. So I still just don't think it's hypocritical. As I've said, neither one of them is great. I don't think either one of them is an amazing thing to do, but they are just not the same, and it's really fucking silly to pretend that they are. They are very different. And that's about it, really. Just wanted to talk about it. See ya. Over the past couple days, some news broke about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and I just wasn't sure if I had the mental fortitude to even really tackle the subject in a video, so I've been back and forth on whether or not to even address it, because it's going to be hard to get through this without shedding a few tears, but sometimes I think it's kind of important to show vulnerability. I'm not some emotionless husk. Men can cry. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think that demonstrates strength. So you know what? If you're a man watching this, go outside right now, look at a beautiful sunset, and just cry your eyes out, you little bitch. Today, I'm going to be crying about the loss of the M&Ms spokes candies. Wow, even just saying that out loud was painful. It felt like poison and fire and flames leaving my mouth. But it's the truth, and sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow, but you gotta swallow regardless. It was revealed this week that the decision was made to binge the M&M spokes candy, the beloved characters of the M&M universe, which has deep and expansive lore that spans decades. It's some of the most well-crafted lore, up there with some of Tolkien's work, so to have them sidelined and even just blatantly retired is tough. They can take away our spokes candy, but they can't take away all the loads I've blown looking at them. God damn, those sexy M&Ms, the green M&M, especially with those high-heeled boots, hubba, Jesus fucking Christ. The nuts I've busted looking at that, and I know I'm not alone. For years, the M&M spokes candies have ranked among the hottest things in the world, like above waifus for weebs even, you know? I'll drop the sarcasm here. I'm sure for a while you've at least been somewhat aware of what's been going on with the M&M's spokes candies. For a long time, they were just like goofy little skits they do with the red M&M, you know, doing shit. Before movies at AMC theaters, they'd have that little short that would play where all the M&Ms get kidnapped, strapped to a rocket, and he's defusing a bomb, and then someone's phone goes off, and it's like, the M&Ms don't want you to have your phone on during a movie. Put it on silent, please. It was just a very large marketing campaign that used these characters for a long time. Well, over the last year or so, they took those characters and then gave them weird backstories. Like, they tried to make the M&Ms have some kind of relatable stories associated with them, so it was like this big marketing overhaul in order to deliver a message that, you know, everyone should come together, everyone is welcome with M&Ms, you know, let's unify the world with M&Ms and our fiction, our lore around them. It was a really goofy campaign, and it got a lot of pushback, but at the forefront was someone named Tucker Carlson, who had a fucking meltdown about the M&Ms no longer being sexy. Like, he could no longer, in good conscience, jerk off and ejaculate to the sight of them. He had this huge rant about it, like the green M&Ms, her boots were taken away and given like sneakers, and he lost his goddamn mind about it. And this became a huge meme, and it even became a point of debate and controversy. And then all of this bubbled over for the last year or so, and now they've recently come out and just completely scrapped everything to do with the spokes candies. Which is such a weird decision in the first place. You could have just said, all right, we won't even give them backstories. It doesn't matter. Because it's not that fucking important. It's just candy. You make candy, right? You're not changing the world. You're changing the weight of the world with how unhealthy your products are. But you're not, like, actually improving the world. You're just making fucking candy. You know, there's no reason to try and make these wild, pretentious statements about the candy you're making and the personality associated with it. It was a weird idea that wasn't executed well, but it led to some unforgettable moments and memes as a result of it. So I am a little sad to see that go. They've been replaced with Maya Rudolph, who's going to be doing a Super Bowl commercial for them. Now, I think there is a conspiracy that has a lot of weight to it, that this is a bait and switch where Maya Rudolph's going to announce, like, the M&Ms are sexier than ever, and then they're going to come out and all goatsy themselves or something, like a big fucking orgy. Like, I do think there is a chance that this is all just another big marketing push in order to hype up this controversy and play into it. But I also could be totally wrong, and they really just didn't want to deal with any kind of, like, public, you know, outcry and hoopla, so they just decided to completely, you know, kill off the spokes candies. Just fucking put them down. But anyway, I went over this on stream, and I want to show some of those clips just to go over it a little bit deeper, but that's basically the situation in a nutshell. Oh, they even put out a Twitter statement. America, let's talk. In the last year, we made some changes to our beloved spokes candies. We weren't sure if anyone would even notice, and we definitely didn't think it would break the internet. I hate that expression so fucking much. I really do. That is just so awful. But now we get it. Even a candy's shoes can be polarizing, which was the last thing M&Ms wanted, since we're all about bringing people together. Therefore, we have decided to take an indefinite pause from the spokes candies. In their place, we're proud to introduce a spokesperson America can agree on. The beloved Maya Rudolph. We are confident Miss Rudolph will champion the... Who the fuck is this guy? He has nothing to do with M&Ms. We're confident Miss Rudolph will champion the power of fun to create a world where everyone feels they belong. What are these huge statements? You make chocolate. You just make chocolate. God damn it. What do you mean? We're saving the world one M&M at a time. This went like 3 different ways. This went fucking cattywampus real quick. Is he happy or sad? I can't tell. I'm gonna miss the sexy M&Ms. I still don't know what the fuck what the point was in all of this shit. This was the dumbest ad campaign ever. Alright, you guys remember the orange M&M? Yeah, so he has anxiety, but he doesn't let it define him. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll think about that next time I'm eating M&Ms. Which one got naked during one of the commercials? That was like, fuck, 10 years ago. There was the one where it like ripped off the coating. Do you think the decision to get rid of the mascots will hurt the company? Man, fuck no. What? The decision to even give them lore was useless anyway. It did nothing except... I mean, maybe it actually helped them because it got people talking about M&Ms. But no, I don't think it's gonna fucking hurt them. It's not like... I can't imagine there's a person out there being like, wow, I related so hard to the orange M&M, and now he's been benched, he's been sidelined. I can't in good conscience eat these M&Ms anymore. I don't see it happening. It's fucking chocolate. You think M&Ms each have a life story? You don't think the M&Ms each have a life story? Well, I mean, now they do. Or they did. For a brief period, I got to really connect with them. I don't know why the purple one Tucker keeps calling obese. She's actually thinner than the yellow one. And the blue one. These two are very rotund. Do you think they got paid their severance? I don't know. I'm expecting twitlongers from each of them, especially the orange one. About discrimination at the workplace for his anxiety or something. That would be... Now, that would be hype. If Mars went the extra mile and made a Twitter account for each of them... Then we'd be talking. Then we could have a Matt Pat game theory on it. Didn't Kellogg's do this for Tony the Tiger and they shut it down because of furries being too horny? Well, they didn't do this for Tony the Tiger. They just made like a big push on Tony the Tiger on Twitter, but then furries kept drawing porn of him. So then they shut it down. Why would M&M just drop their characters? It's probably just a Super Bowl bait and switch. I don't think they actually dropped them. But if they did, I don't think it matters. Who fucking cares? Maybe one day the spokes candies will come back and reclaim their glory, but for now, it's looking like we may have seen the last of this crew of M&Ms, and God bless. It was a great run. Well, anyway, yeah, I just want to talk about this. That's about it. So, yeah. Brace yourself, Rick and Morty fans. I've got another huge squanch for you today. It's more bad news. For those that are unfamiliar with the situation, I'll go ahead and briefly break down the cliff notes for you. It recently came to light that one of the series creators, Justin Roiland, has been facing felony domestic violence charges for an incident that took place in 2020. It's been an ongoing thing, but has only recently made it to the public eye, and as you can imagine, this news has been a massive hit to the plumbus for the entire fandom. They're very serious charges. Felony domestic violence as well as a false imprisonment charge. Like, that's serious shit. There's nothing swifty about domestic violence. So when all of this news broke, a lot of people were rightfully upset. But since he still hasn't stood trial for these things, it still was left up in the air with what's going to happen to the series going forward. There's been a ton of hearings and even a pre-trial, but still no official trial date has been set, though that does seem like it's right around the corner. And as I mentioned, I was assuming that Adult Swim wouldn't make any statements or any changes like firing Justin Roiland or anything like that until after the trial, whether it's a conviction and he's found guilty or he's found innocent. I didn't think they would act in the meantime. But just like my doctor when he said I would grow up to be 5'8", I was wrong. Just a couple hours ago, Adult Swim flopped their meat on the table, releasing this statement, which is super cut and dry and to the point. Adult Swim has ended its association with Justin Roiland. Rick and Morty will continue. The talent and dedicated crew are hard at work on Season 7. This was very shocking to me because, again, I didn't think they'd do this when he still hasn't been found guilty on the charges yet. So it really seems like they must know at least more than the public does about this case and feel confident that whatever's happened here is not good, and it's not someone that they'd want to associate with their brand anymore. Though it is also possible that they're just doing this because keeping him around is bad optics for Rick and Morty, which is by far their biggest cash cow that Adult Swim is still suckling the tits off of. So maybe they're worried that by keeping Justin Roiland around, it'll be a huge hit to their bottom line because of everything that's already surfaced. Even outside of the charges here, the majority of people have already kind of ruled that Justin Roiland is creepy at the very least. There was this massive flood, this opening of Pandora's box of weird DMs that Justin Roiland was accused of sending to people, as well as text messages going out to people and employees. I'm not sure if those are 100% confirmed, but they are turbo stinky. That shit is fucking foul. The flirting sounds like it's actually him playing the Morty character and trying to flirt with real people, so he'd say things like insane in the membrane and even text like he's Morty saying like, oh, whoa, hubba, hubba, whoa, jeez. It's all pretty bad, but again, I don't know if any of that's 100% confirmed, so I'm not going to bother pulling it up. But yeah, once all of that shit pulled itself out from the deepest pits of hell and hit the Twitter space, it pretty much banished his reputation to the Shadow Realm even before the courts did it for him. So the people have already charged and found Justin Roiland guilty of cringe, which is another massive crime and huge sin. But I'm hoping Adult Swim did their due diligence and actually investigated this themselves internally to see what was true and what's not, as opposed to just looking at Twitter screenshots, since some of the people that accused him of sending these fucking weird messages were former employees, I believe. So surely there'd be a way for Adult Swim to verify the authenticity of some of the claims, and I'm hoping that's what they did before making this decision. I hope it wasn't just impulsively done as a way of trying to save face in the public eye. But as of right now, we just don't know a whole lot about it. There's not a ton of information about the specifics of the case, and Adult Swim's statement is only 26 words in total. Like, there's just barely more letters in this statement than a single League of Legends username. And there's also not any deeper information from other outlets. There's no big scoop that's breaking somewhere. Right now, everything's just pretty unclear of exactly what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't think the statement Adult Swim put out is a problem or anything with it being so brief. It makes sense considering how serious and sensitive this case is. So I'm not surprised that they didn't go into details about it, because I imagine they probably can't. Now, there is another big development that I haven't seen a ton of people mention yet, and it has to do with Justin Roiland's video game company, Squanch Games. Now, I'm sure you know of the game High on Life. It's been glorbing a ton of trick holes all over the planet, a very divisive game, but a very popular one nonetheless. That was published by Squanch Games, and now they've put out a statement letting everyone know that Justin Roiland has resigned. But Squanch Games will continue to develop games even without him at the helm. Squanch Games is also no stranger to controversy here, because they also had their own little scandal where they settled a sexual harassment lawsuit in 2019. Yep, once again, just more horrible shit all around. There's just nothing good recently for Rick and Morty fans, but I will quickly wiggle my finger and say, I told you so, because I made the prediction that if they do shit-can Justin Roiland for all of this, they would still continue Rick and Morty without him. A lot of people said that if Justin Roiland isn't there at Rick and Morty, you know, developing it, writing it, voicing it, that they just wouldn't let it continue, it'd just die. But I made the argument that it is just too lucrative. It's a fucking billion-dollar franchise that is by far the biggest thing Adult Swim has under their belt. I said that with that kind of money, there's no way they just bury it, even with Justin Roiland not being there anymore. That's exactly what they've done. Justin Roiland will no longer be there, but they are going to continue to make it going forward without his presence. That means there's going to be new voice actors voicing Rick and Morty, as well as probably very different writing. For some people, that might actually be exciting, but for most fans of the franchise, I imagine that's pretty upsetting to hear, and I think a lot of people will drop it after Season 7 if it's super drastically different. I made the prediction that should they continue going forward without Justin Roiland, Rick and Morty would peter out like a little sad wet fart over time, just falling off, dwindling further and further. And I stand by that shit like a proud kid at a science fair with his little baking soda volcano. I really do think that this will be the slow demise of Rick and Morty with the entire different group at the helm. I think if Justin Roiland's not there, the best thing to have done would just be stop it altogether. But like I said, there's far too many clams on the table for that. The amount of doubloons Rick and Morty brings in is ridiculous. So there was never really any chance of that, but this is going to be just a very slow and steady decline in the quality of it, I would imagine. But who knows? Maybe I'm super wrong about that as well. It's very possible. Maybe they bring in a really talented team and they just fucking knock it out of the park without Justin Roiland being there. Maybe it's even better without him being there. A lot of people, myself included, have become very tired of his style of writing where it's all just kind of the same formula of stutter through a joke and then over-explain everything and repeat yourself 50 fucking times in the space of like 20 seconds. So maybe it actually does improve. It's possible, but I do find it unlikely. But anyway, that's kind of where this whole situation's at. Justin Roiland himself hasn't put out a statement. His legal team did put out a statement talking about how optimistic they are with the case and proving his innocence, but he himself hasn't said anything, which I think is obvious and par for the course here given the magnitude of this situation. So I don't think we'll hear from him anytime soon, but we'll see. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.